was a tough day for me. I was actually stuck in Denver. I was doing the Monday night game in Vesco Field the night before on September 10th between the Broncos and the Giants. That was the game that Ed McCaffrey had broken his leg. And I was coming back home that morning on September 11th. I was actually sitting on the plane. We hadn't pulled away from the tarmac just yet. And then the pilot came on and said exactly what your pilot said to you, basically almost verbatim. As we got off the plane, we didn't know what had happened. We looked up. I saw the first tower had just been hit by, American Airlines number 11. That tower was where my offices for my foundation were. We were on the 101st floor. We were within the Cantor Fitzgerald company that lost 658 employees that day. Luckily enough for me, my employees were not in the office when the plane struck, and the plane struck right around floor number 99. So everybody above that basically had no chance of getting out of the building, and that's where all my friends were working. So you can imagine what it was like getting off of that plane, sitting in Denver Airport, trying to figure out what my next move was. And I was trying to get a hold of my wife, and finally, after about 10 phone calls, she picked it up. I said, "You have to go get our kids out of school and get them home." I was stuck in Denver for 3 days. Trying feverishly to find people, find out what was going on, get as much information as I possibly could. And one of the guys that I finally got a hold of was Howard Lutnick. He was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald and still is to this day. And I caught him down in Lower Manhattan. He was at one of his coworkers' apartments because he was late to work that day because he was taking his child to his first day of kindergarten. And then when he heard about the attack on the tower, he immediately ran to the tower because he had all of his employees in there, family members in there. And I got a hold of him, and I had a conversation with him. Probably it was around 11:30 or 12, I'm thinking. And he had just gotten to that apartment after the collapse of the towers, and he had gotten caught in all of that. And luckily enough, he survived. But I didn't get back until that Friday. And I remember immediately going down to seeing the destruction and the mayhem and all the tears and just the heartache and the wailing that was going on. And for 10 days, I stayed down there. The thing that I remember most about all of that is how nobody in my sport, in the sport of football, especially if you were a Jet or a Giant, wanted to play that next weekend. The players couldn't play. And I remember working for Fox at that time. And my boss is saying to me, if there was going to be football the next weekend, Boomer, you don't have to come. You don't have to show up. Don't think that you have to be here. They were very kind to me at that time, knowing the impact that it had on me. So I was very thankful that the NFL and almost all sports canceled their next big events, and the NFL didn't resume until the next 2 weeks. So, every year I'm reminded of it. I work down in Lower Manhattan now, and every time I come out of my office building, I look to my right, and there is One World Trade Center. It's nicknamed the Freedom Tower. It stands tall by the wading pools, and the pools are something that are the reflecting pools. Are something to behold. They did a great job down there. So I'm reminded every 20 years, but it's never far from me. As you can see over my shoulder, as I have the pictures of the World Trade Centers right under the American flag behind me.